Hi there. Welcome to World Silver Gods YouTube channel, and in this video we are going to discuss the silver coinage of Canada. Now, if you're in the United States and you're watching this video and you're ready to jump on the World Silver Express, Canada is probably going to be your best friend. It's very easy to find Canadian silver under spot if you look closely. Now, most silver investors are aware of the Canadian Maple Leaf series, which are 1 ounce 0.9999 fine coins, hugely popular, especially in China. But there are a ton of other silver coins available in Canada, and we're going to go through the most common ones in detail. Like the US, Canada used silver in their circulating coinage, and where the US used a 90% fineness for almost all of its existence, Canada actually used two finenesses. Sterling, which is 0.925 fine, and 0.8 fine, which is 80% fine. And there are some minor exceptions to this as well. It might sound complicated, but with just a little homework you'll know exactly what's out there. First thing I'm going to discuss is dimes. Okay. Canada has its coinage exactly like the United States, where in the fact that it has pennies, dimes, nickels, quarters, half dollars, and dollars, which is, if you're a big 90% silver U.S. investor, you're well familiar with those. So that's a comfortable way to look at it. But we're going to dissect the Canadian specifics. Now, in Canada, dimes from the 1910s to 1966, all dimes are composed of 0.80% silver. There are coins from 1919 and earlier. They're sterling silver, but they're likely to be pretty worn, and you're probably going to have to kind of take a leap of faith on buying, because most of the times the date is worn off. So most of what you'll encounter that you can identify well is going to be after 1920. Okay, so you've got from 1920 to 1966, all coins are composed of 80% silver, and that goes for dimes, all dimes. Now, in 1967, Canada decided to celebrate its centennial, and it issued various coins with animals on them. All the 1967 Canadian coins have an animal on them. The dime has a mackerel on it. Okay. Now, the thing to notice with 1967 only coins in Canada is that they were experimenting with different finenesses of their circulating coinage. So some of the 1967 silver coins in Canada are 80%, which is standard, which we just discussed, and some of it is 50% silver, which we'll discuss in a minute. So you've got two different finenesses, and there's really no way to distinguish it because they weigh practically identical. The only way to know for sure is by melting it. So you want to take that into account when you're buying Canadian silver. If you get a lot of these centennial coins, and you'll know they all have an animal on them. If you get a lot of these coins in a lot that's advertised as all 80%, you want to be wary because they're not. And a lot of refiners I've noticed, Kitco is one of them, will pay a different rate for 1967 Canadian silver only. Okay, but as long as it's 1966 or earlier, you've got 80%, and if it's before 1920, you're talking sterling. But again, most of what you'll encounter before 1920 is significantly worn, so I would not sweat that too much. That's dimes. Now, in 1968 only, they were further experimenting with their finenesses, and actually in 1968 they ended silver in their circulating coinage, but only mid-year. midway through the year. So there are 1968 1968 dimes and quarters only that are 50% silver. And they're quite easy to tell because they still look silver and they have the silver sound, silver tone. They test for positive for silver, and they look different. They still look pretty different compared to non-silver dimes. So they're pretty easy to tell even in photographs. But you want to be careful if, again, if you're looking on eBay or if you're at a dealer that's advertising that all 1968 dimes and quarters were silver, because they're not. Only about half of them are, and you'll have to look through each one. But this is a good way to get cheap silver, because a lot of people don't know, or they're kind of worried about which coins are what. But as you get better and you get more experience and exposure to what 1968 silver coins look like compared to non-1968 silver coins, you'll become very comfortable and you'll know for sure that you're getting silver as opposed to crapola. So there's that. And that's pretty much all you're going to look for in dimes. After 1968, in dimes, no silver. So you got partially 1968. Some are silver, the other half are not. And after that, no silver. Okay, that's dimes only. Okay. Canadian quarters are exactly the same. They follow exactly the same pattern as dimes, in that from before 1920 they're sterling silver, and from 1920 to 1966 they're all 80% fine, 80% silver. Okay, until 1966. Like the dime, in 1967, they issued their centennial. This one is a bobcat. And like the dime, you've got the both 80% fine and 50% fine. But all of 1967 Canadian coins are silver. Okay, you don't have to worry about it not being silver. You just have to worry about the fineness, which is almost impossible to determine. But that's 1967 quarters. And like the dime, Canada also in 1968 had some silver quarters and some non-silver quarters in 1968 only. And these are actually easier to work with because they're larger and it's easier to discern whether they're silver or not. So you might find if you want to get into 1968 silver Canadian coinage, you might have a lot more preference working with quarters rather than dimes. But I want to state that only dimes and quarters had the 1968 silver. Not half dollars and not dollars. No 1968 half dollars or dollars are silver. Only some 1968 dimes and quarters. Okay? So you want to make sure that you're well aware of that. And any coin book that you purchase that has Canadian coins in it will state this. So you can kind of read it and digest it until you're comfortable with what that's all about.